Welcome to Radio Days with Gary Music Miller. Now here's your co-host, Dave Black.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Radio Days with Gary Music Miller. I'm your co-host, Dave Black. This is the aforementioned Gary Music Miller, longtime on-air personality at WKEE in Huntington, also the music director, and at one time, program director / music director, and the slash is where the problems came in. So, he only had
took a break from program directing, but never took a break from music directing. So,
no, Charlie Dunlap was correct in giving you that nickname.
Charlie gave me the nickname and said the nicest thing anybody has ever said. He said, "This guy's really passionate about the music," and I really was.
Hey. You're going to trust anybody's judgment. Trust Charlie.
Charlie's, and
absolutely.
And that's why when we do you got to hear this at the end of the show. It's something I really, really like, and
nobody else did.
Nobody else did. I'm not going to say nobody else did, but it was my liking it did not make it a hit.
Maybe the great majority did not. Okay. So,
and that's one thing I haven't heard any comments really about. Anybody saying, I listened to You Got to Hear This, and I thought this.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, we'll talk about that at the end.
But I'll put a link down below in the comment section, in the description, I should say, that will give you to click on it. Should say to access the video of the song he's talking about, because they're going to be found on YouTube somewhere. So, with that said,
I'm not sure I even have one of those for today.
Right.
One may come into my mind, but so it's my turn.
So, well, before we get any farther, I'll let you know we are, as usual, coming to you from the Museum of Radio and Technology, 1640 Florence Avenue in Huntington. You get a chance to come out here and check them out. Well worth your time. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Gary.
And you can see the studio that we're in.
Yeah.
And there are so many things here, so many pieces of memorabilia about radio and television and whatnot. And the wall next to us, the hall next to us, houses the West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Fame. And we hope to actually have the founder of the Hall of Fame and one of the guys that runs the museum out here as a guest in a few short shows. So really not a whole lot to say today, except to tell you what I'm going to be talking about. And this is a list basically I put together. Heard a song on one of the 70s channels that I listened to, and I had forgotten the guy had done the song. Even though he was a well-respected actor. And that became the impetus for this group of songs that I have. I've listed 7 of them. I'm not going to try to encompass the whole field. But these are basically TV actors who ended up having relatively good singing careers. I had hoped to name it actors who failed at singing careers, but unfortunately for that title, most of the guys and girls on this list did have hit singles. And I'm going to end up with one that just absolutely blows my mind. The timing, everything. But wait till the end of the show. Wait till you hear my tag along with the 7 people that I have here. I did not include comedians, so I didn't mention like Eddie Murphy and or Steve Martin. I'm sure Steve Martin did not expect a follow-up to King Tut to be a hit, and I don't think it was. And Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time, I don't know, is that a novelty or is it, it's really the one song he had. So I didn't bring those people in. I also eliminated another group of folks, and those were soap opera actors. Not to offend anybody, but there's the Michael Damians, the Rick Springfields, the Jack Wagners, Gloria Loring, they were coming off of soap operas pretty much when they had their hits, and I did not include them. These are basically bona fide primetime TV actors that had hits. So let's get underway. Put the old glasses on. I'm going to go back to 1963 for actually, I think maybe 1962. And I'm going to have to hold this closely because the lighting is not great in here. I'm going to go back to 62 with Shelley Fabre. Now, many of you probably know that she became a very successful actress. She did One Day at a Time. She did Coach. I don't know how many other shows she did following the TV show that she did that made her a musical star. But from 1958 to 1963, she played Mary Stone on the Donna Reed show. I almost forgot her name. They put an album out. They thought they'd make a singer out of her, so they put an album out called Shelley, and she had a #1 single from that album called Johnny Angel. Johnny Angel was your typical teenage, I'm longing after this boy, and he doesn't know I'm around. So they asked me for a date. I'd rather stand and wait on Johnny Angel. Johnny Angel from 1962 sold over 1 million copies, and she actually had 3 other lesser-known hits from that album that I don't even know the stations that dig deep into their libraries would even play. But Johnny Angel, bona fide #1 song that anybody, that even me, I grew up in the 60s and started radio in the 70s, and I'm familiar with Johnny Angel. That is 7A. I'm going to mention 7B. This is the one person that really did not succeed, and that was Paul Peterson. Paul Peterson played Mary Stone's brother and Donna Reed's and Carl Betts. Did Carl Betts ever make a bet? I wonder when Carl Betts. He was judge for the defense for a while, if I remember. But Paul Peterson played Jeff on Donna Reed. He pursued a singing career in the 1960s. It was unsuccessful. He did hit the top 10, barely, with a song called My Dad. And then the next time I found him in the top 40 was like at number 38 with a song called She Lost Her Car Keys. So Paul Peterson did not become a huge singing sensation. Pardon me, trying to catch my breath here. He didn't become a huge singing sensation, but he did all right on the Donna Reed show, and I'm not sure what he's doing now. But Paul is still alive. Shelley's still alive as of this taping. And it's good to mention them both and remember that. We'll move way up to 1970s. From 1967 to 1978, Vicki Lawrence was on the Carol Burnett show. I understand she was hired because of her resemblance to Carol. And I suppose she did have a resemblance. She's done a lot of guest spots on TV shows, had her own TV show, Mama's Family, which was a spin-off of a bit they did on the Carol Burnett show. Bell Records decided to release an album November 1972. Sold over, I believe, 10 million copies. It sold a bunch of copies. It was a big seller. And her #1 single from that album was The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. And she was the original singer of that. I believe Reba McEntire did a country version of it. But Vicki did pretty well. She was on the Carol Burnett show for over a decade and came out with a #1 song, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Number 3, Bruce Willis. The Return of Bruno was the name of the album. He did a song called Respect Yourself. In 1987, it went to number 5, which was amazing to me. It was a hit in the Netherlands, Canada, Belgium, Australia, and all over the world. The Staple Singers, which to me, the song sounds more to me like a song the Staple Singers would have sung than Bruce Willis. But the Staple Singers actually had the original out and only went to number 12 in 1974. So Bruce outdid the original, and that was his one big hit. He was on the television series Moonlighting when this came out.
I was unaware that Bruno had even left.
I know. Bruno is has some kind of meaning to Bruce. I'm not sure what, but if you want to write me about that, you can. Number 4, John Travolta. John Travolta, what was that? Oh, coming off the TV show, Welcome Back, Kotter. And he was a TV actor who they decided to decide. Is that even a term? They decided to release an album of John Travolta's songs and make him a singer. And he did go to number 5 with hit. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong line here. He went to number 10 in July of 1976. That's what I do when I'm writing this stuff out. I wish I had a printer like Dave does, but Let Her In was the name of the song. It went to number 10 in 1976. It was the first song off of John's second album, and it spent 5 months on the Billboard Hot 100, which is hard to believe. No. That was not John's greatest moment, I don't believe, and I think you kind of agree with me.
Yeah, it's not one I can stomach that often.
Yeah, so when it comes on, his radio goes off, and mine just my mind goes somewhere else.
The singing sweat hog does not encourage me to listen.
Singing sweat hog. Went to number 10. Of course, you can't deny he went on to greater success when Grease was released as a motion picture. The soundtrack yielded 2 duets with Olivia Newton-John, Summer Nights and You're the One That I Want. The soundtrack also yielded a solo Olivia Newton-John song called Hopelessly Devoted to You. And in England, they decided he deserved airplay from his solo on that album called Sandy. Sandy, have you ever seen the movie? You've never seen it?
I've seen the movie.
You've seen the movie, okay. Sandy was done, I thought, one of the best parts of the movie was how he sang at a drive-in, and he's in front of what's playing on in the drive-in section, which are these cartoons of people coming out with hot dogs and, a hot dog jumps in its bun and that kind of thing. And at the very end, Travolta ends the song, yeah, or whatever he does.
I am the Frito Bandito.
And the box behind him, the popcorn box behind him, bows as though he knows Travolta's ending the song. And I really thought that was a very creative scene in that movie.
Bowing in thanks.
England thought it big enough to play a 4th hit from Grease. So he had the 2 duets. He had Olivia had the single, and then they did very well. I don't know how far up the chart it went, but he had a song called Sandy, of course, which was Olivia's character. And Sandy did chart in the UK. And so I believe that was the last of his singing. I think he went on to movie making from then. Number 5, Don Johnson. Who could forget Don Johnson? Miami Vice. the TV show. He released 2 albums in the 1980s, and his song, you actually had to remind me of the song. I forgot the song Heartbeat, but Heartbeat went to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it reached very, very respectable numbers in a bunch of other countries. This one I had totally forgotten, but Don Johnson did a duet with Barbara Streisand, which went to it went top 40. It was called Till I Loved You. I don't remember the song. If it went top 40, we probably played it. Don Johnson duetting with Barbara Streisand. Down to number 2 in the countdown, Patrick Swayze. Who can forget Dirty Dancing? He also did Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he did several other TV shows and other movie roles. I don't know that Patrick did that much TV, but he did have other movie roles.
Roadhouse.
He had a number 1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 with Don't Give... I'm getting ahead of myself. Patrick Swayze was She's Like the Wind. And it was number 1 on Billboard, number 5 it was number 1 on the Billboard Easy Listening chart. Went to number 3 on the Hot 100, and it was top 15 in 9 countries.
Goodness sakes.
Big song for Patrick Swayze, of course, who a couple of these people passed away at very early ages. This one being among them. At number 1, I have David Soul. David Soul was coming off the TV show Starsky and Hutch. And he had the number 1 single, Don't Give Up on Us. Don't Give Up on Us, Baby, some people will refer to it. In 1977, it went to number 1 on the Hot 100. UK, it went to number 1. It went to number 1 in Canada. And the album was called David Soul. So if you ever want to go into the bargain bins at your local record store, and you might want to look that up. It might be a collector's item by now. So that's my countdown of 7 through 1 of the biggest TV actors who attempted, and except for Paul Peterson, who did make it to top 10 with that one song. Nobody really remembers it, but those are the actors that I came up with that had singing careers. And if you can think of one I've left out, please put it in the messages. Put it in the responses.
Surprised you didn't list Hervé Villechaize.
Did he have it?
Yeah, it was called "It's a Small World."
It's a small world. Okay.
Those of you who don't remember him, he was Tattoo on Fantasy Island.
Tattoo.
So
what was the guy's name? Hewitt. Played Mr. Belvedere, and I saw a rerun of Fantasy Island recently, and apparently I had to look this up, the last season of Fantasy Island, this Hewitt guy, I'm sorry I've forgotten his name. Like I said, he played Mr. Belvedere, and he was Mr. Rourke's Ricardo Montalban's sidekick on the last season of Fantasy Island. I don't know what happened to her day. He might have passed. He might have just decided he had a bigger career to look forward to somewhere else. But,
any would be a
Christopher Hewitt was the guy's name.
Okay.
And he played Mr. Belvedere and was in the last season of Fantasy Island.
I will have to admit I have never, ever watched Mr. Belvedere.
I haven't either. I haven't either. And there's this.
No, you got to be kidding me. As much television as you've watched in your life.
No. I didn't.
Why this guy was in radio, I don't know, because he's watched more television than anybody in the history of the world.
Well, why part of that is that in 1977, I'm pretty sure the year was, I was working at WAMX, which was a top 40 station in the Huntington, West Virginia, Ashland, Kentucky, Ironton, Ohio market. And I moved over to WKEE in 1978. And there was this TV show I was absolutely dying to see, and I knew I would miss it. It was The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. And I said, I'm not going to miss this show. So I went over to a place in Ohio. I think it was called Hatfield and McCoy's, I believe was the name of the store. Went over and bought a $1,200 VCR. And you had your choice back then, VCR or Beta. And, VHS or Beta. Those were the two video recorders, yeah. VCR stood for video cassette recorder. VHS, I'm not sure what stood for, but you had your choice between VHS and Betamax. I chose the VHS, which was a good choice on my part, one of the few I've made in my life, because Beta was phased out a few years after it was introduced. But I brought the VCR home, the video cassette recorder home, plugged it in. Nobody else had one. I mean, I told people, I'm taping The Incredible Hulk tonight. And they'd go, you're what? You're taping it? What are you talking about? And I said, there's now an invention where you can actually record TV shows. And I think this original one I had allowed me to actually watch one channel and tape another, which was huge back then. So I never watched I never missed The Incredible Hulk. Pardon me. But there are some other TV shows that I watched. I'm sure I don't remember exactly what they were, but I would tape All in the Family on Saturday night so I could go out and drink. So I'm not gonna.
Let's pretend you've never seen The Incredible Hulk in your life.
Yes. Okay.
I'm going to run down the premise of the program. A scientist gets belted by some gamma rays. He gets really angry at people, turns green, destroys a lot of stuff, and then his clothes tear off him. They never fall off, although they get shredded. However, he finally gets over his anger and comes back to being a human. So that's really what it's about. Now, every program was like that. So if you ever don't see it, that's it.
Yeah.
Exciting, huh?
He just described it. What blew me away, I'm going to be honest with you, I enjoyed the stuff that Bill Bixby has done or had did before he passed away. He did several, at least 2 or 3 Elvis movies. He was in My Favorite Martian, which I liked as a little kid. He did a movie called Courtship of Eddie's Father, which I didn't enjoy so much. I didn't really like it that much. He did a very short-lived TV show called The Magician. And he did that. 2 specials that were brought about by this girl, I can't remember her name, who was dead set toward proving that Elvis was still alive. And Bill Bixby hosted 2 specials by this woman. They kept coming up with reasons, proof that he was still alive, from the misspelling on his headstone to the many sightings, at the New York, Michigan McDonald's,
Burger King, come on.
Yeah, Burger King, okay.
He liked Whoppers.
But there were so many reasons, and she actually had a tape of a phone conversation with him, and they played the tape, and he talks about how it's a sad thing, stuff that happened before he died happened. So it had to have been him, and he still had to have been alive. And they did 2 TV shows around that, and Bixby was the host. So
he got mad because Elvis wasn't alive, and he turned green, and his clothes ripped, and he tore up the place.
Yeah, but after you've seen a few of them, some of them get kind of old to me. But he always found a way to get beat up, or something would drop on him, or somebody throw him in a jail cell, or whatever, and all of a sudden those eyes, he wore these contacts, Bill Bixby did, and wore these contacts, and his eyes went, and you heard the music, and a few minutes later, he's ripping, the clothes are all ripped off, and he's the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. And he usually does something for a good reason. He usually doesn't just cause havoc everywhere he goes. Yeah. They actually had 3 movies, which included the death of the Incredible Hulk, which didn't happen. He didn't die.
Well, let's put it this way.
And I'll tell you, let me just add one thing. There was if you watch the TV show The Fugitive with David Janssen, part of that magic was that there was a reporter, or there was not a reporter, there was a policeman after David Janssen's character, and Dr. Richard Kimball had to escape into various guises and took on various roles and took on various names. And in the very final episode, which was the most watched episode of television ever until Who Shot JR by Dallas came along on Dallas, that reveal became the most watched TV show ever. But the finale to The Fugitive was the most watched TV show ever because the policeman finally caught up with Richard Kimball, the fugitive. And what killed me, they had a reporter following every time somebody called in a reporter seeing the Hulk. The reporter would go after it, and by hook or by crook, hiding, placement, whatever, he never ran into the Hulk. He was at a lot of places where the Hulk had been, but he never got to meet the Hulk, and Bixby died before they actually got to meet each other. And that was kind of, for us, we who were fans of the show, that was kind
all
of
I can say is that the comic book was better than the TV show.
Well, that's part of it. I'm a comic book junkie. I mentioned the fact that I had a letter published in Flash 175. People probably get so sick of hearing that. But it was in 1967, and there's a letter from Gary Miller in Huntington, West Virginia, that I had published. I became a DC fan through the Batman television series, and I got to catch up on some old Superman TV show series with George Reed. But the Hulk was really the first Marvel comic character that I just really liked the whole story behind it.
Yeah. Why not?
But that's why Hatfield and McCoy sold me a VCR.
Why not boast about being a published author?
That's right. I was a published author in 1967 at the age of 12. And I beat a lot of the people that make comic books for a living.
They had a hard time with the Pulitzer that year.
That's right.
Okay. Do you have anything else for us?
Actually, I'll wind things up as I usually begin things. I do have some passing aways to mention. So I'll go down those real fast. I've had a couple of people thank me for doing this because they said I would never have known so-and-so died if it hadn't been for you. Um, I don't know whether anybody's ever heard of the group Cake. Not my cup of tea, but Cake and Hole, and there were so many one-name groups. Cake was an alternative band, and one of the founding members of Cake, Greg Brown, died on February 7th. Now I'm going way back a bit, and then I'm going to run up now to March. We mentioned a couple of people, Carl Carlson and somebody else passed away, I think in February. But March deaths I have, starting last and going first. Cash Crofts, I believe was his first name, of Seals and Crofts.
Dash.
Was it Dash Crofts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dash Crofts from Seals and Crofts, 87 years old on March 25th. That's when he passed away. I can very, very so remember, I believe I was at WCMI and playing Summer Breeze. I may have been at AMX or Key by then, but Summer Breeze was my first song. And then I'd really love to see you tonight. Wasn't that a Seals and Crofts song?
No, that was England Dan and John Ford Coley.
No, England and John Ford Coley. I get those duets mixed up. Well, I get a lot mixed up with my head.
What if you use someone else's?
There was another group I really wasn't familiar with called Motorhead. And a guy named Paul Campbell died from Motorhead at the age of 64 on March 13th. Brad Delp, I mentioned before, I loved his voice. We did a show on vocalists that we loved, and I mentioned Brad Delp of Boston. Brad Delp left Boston. I don't know why. He may have passed away, but the guy that took his place, named Phil Campbell. No, Phil Campbell was Motorhead. Tommy DiCarlo. Tommy DiCarlo took Brad Delp's place as lead singer of Boston, and he passed away at the age of 60 on May 6th. Have you ever heard of Country Joe and the Fish?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Country Joe and the Fish, Joe McDonald of Country Joe and the Fish died at 84 years old, March 7th. And David, here's an oldie, David Brigatti. David Brigatti was in Joey D and the Starlighters, which was one of the original Twist groups. And later on, he went on to join the Rascals, which started out as the Young Rascals and then became the Rascals. More 60s. He was 85 years old when he passed away on March 7th. And let's see if I have anybody else. These guys, I don't know these guys were one of the best recording groups of the 60s to me. They had two hit songs. They were called the Walker Brothers. They were from England. They had two hit songs that made it over here. Make It Easy on Yourself, which was a Burt Bacharach, Hal David tune, and The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore. If you've not heard either one of those songs, I refer you to the Walker Brothers and to listen to these songs. These songs are so expertly put together. The production is right. Their singing is out of this world. They just put, and the drummer, everything about the Walker Brothers. One of my favorite groups as a kid. And I didn't know if they're still around or not, but Gary Walker passed away at the age of 83, March 1st, I believe. And I believe we probably already mentioned Neil Sedaka, 86 years old on February 27th. And this surprised me, and this will be my last one, Monty Rock III. Monty Rock III was the voice behind Discotheques and the Sexalettes. Have you ever heard of any of that? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Discotheques and the Sexalettes, I believe, did a song "Get Dancing"
Yep.
and was a hit in the disco era. And Discotheques himself, Monty Rock III, died at age of 86 on February 23rd. I don't think I
Wow.
mentioned that when we did February. And for all intents and purposes, I'm done.
You don't even have a, you got to hear this.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. You got to hear this week.
Well, you don't have to hear
because
it.
you haven't. I'll leave the Walker Brothers
Okay.
as two songs, Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore and Make It Easy on Yourself. Two songs by the Walker Brothers you should listen to and appreciate this duet from England, who was much more popular in England than here. But I do know that Key, I was listening to Key in the 60s before I went to work for them, and they played both of those songs,
Wow.
which I'm very, very glad they did.
Good.
I would have been, if I had been music director, I would have made them go on the air too. They're terrific songs.
Okay.
They really are good. I'm not faking you out with a song that's iffy. This is two magnificent pieces of music.
Good deal. Okay. Well, I guess we are finished somewhat for the day. We thank you all for tuning in. We also want you to remember to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate that if you do. You can get a hold of Gary at rdwgmm@gmail.com. You can also get him on X at Gary Music Miller. You can get a hold of him on Facebook as well, as many of you have done. And
some of you have. What's it listed as? Gary and Kim or Kim and Gary?
Something like that.
Yeah. I very, very rarely go to Facebook, to be honest with you, because I just, I don't know. I don't know why. It just bored me after a while.
You can also leave a comment in the comment section below the video.
Below. Please do.
And we're going to, I think,
if you would share this with anybody you know that loves classic music, I want to thank you who are subscribed. Thank you for tuning in every time we do a show. If you are not subscribed, you just hop in every once in a while to see what we're talking about. Please consider subscribing. That would mean the world to us and to YouTube. And if you are just finding us by accident, please know that we're totally committed to bringing nostalgia to you about your favorite songs, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. We talk a lot about your favorite music and your favorite groups, and we hope to join the ranks of some of the people that have channels like that have literally thousands of followers, and we hope you'll join us and enjoy every show we do.
But in the interim, we appreciate you. We thank you for your support. And with that said, for Gary Music Miller, I'm Dave Black, your co-host, saying good day, have a good week, and take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. That would be the best thing in life, I think. Take care. So long.